Who doesn't like the idea of basically having double the chance at dropping a really rare item that you've been striving to drop? It's a pretty silly question. Nobody in their right mind is gonna think this is a bad thing. Now, the great thing about dungeons is it doesn't cost anything to start a dungeon run. All you have to do is basically just be able to do the dungeon run and probably have a relatively competent party. Now, I know the latter can sometimes be a difficult task. Being a prolific dungeon thrower myself, I know what it's all about. After all, from dungeons you can drop items such as the giant sword, the Necron's handle, any of the 3 scrolls, pieces of wither armor, the dark claymore, and many more items. Now, when completing floors such as Floor 7 or Master Mode Floor 7, I'm pretty sure the consensus has always been you should buy a Kismet Feather. Use a Kismet Feather. The Kismet Feather basically gives you another chance. If you get nothing good in the chest at the end, you can re-roll it for the cost of about 1.35 million, or 1,350 bits. And there's not really anything else to a Kismet Feather. The wiki page is incredibly short because it's an incredibly simple item. But is it actually statistically worth using a Kismet Feather for your dungeon run? Well, most people will tell you it's worth using them for Floor 7, but is it worth using them for any other floor? After all, from Floor 7 you've got 3 chances of dropping something that's worth 300 million and also another chance of dropping something that's worth over 700 million. That's 4 items that would be incredibly good to drop. As opposed to something like Floor 6 where you might get something that's worth 120 million, but everything else is worth probably less than 30 million. Now, just to lay some foundations down, I just want to say that if you use a Kismet Feather for every single run, in theory, statistically, you should have twice the chance to drop, well, anything. After all, from one dungeon run, you're essentially getting 2 bedrock chests. It doesn't mean to say that somebody who doesn't use Kismet Feathers isn't going to drop more than somebody who does because they have better luck, because that is just RNG. Something else that's also important to note is if we take a look at, for instance, the Floor 7 rewards, we look at the Necron's handle and we look at the RNG meter. If you use Kismet Feathers, this doesn't mean that RNG meter is going to fill twice as quick. It's going to fill at the same pace. It just means that you're going to have twice the amount of chests building up the RNG meter being filled. Before we see if these Kismet Feathers are really worth it, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS. It gets yourself 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel, it really does help out a lot. And you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. Okay, so we're going to start off taking a look at the Giant Sword. Okay, so the Giant Sword's drop chance from a regular Floor 6 and an S Plus run is 0.11. You do have a higher chance from a Master Mode Floor 6, but we're going to take a look at the regular Floor 6 first. So this drop chance is around about 1 in 910. If you use a Kismet every single run, that's 1 in 455. So if you do get so unlucky and you have to do the full 455 runs using a Kismet every single time, that means you would spend approximately 614 million coins on Kismets, making it not worth it at all. You will lose a substantial amount of money, probably about 400-500 mil. But let's now take a look at the Master Mode Floor 6 drop chance. This 0.17 drop chance equates to around about 1 in 589. Or if you use a Kismet every single time, it's around about 1 in 295, which still wouldn't be worth it, you'd still lose coins. But here's the thing, right? For instance, if you did open 2 chests every single run, essentially using a Kismet every single run, that means that you're also doubling your chances at getting other drops from Floor 6. For example, the Precursor Eye, which could bag you around about 30 million coins, a Necromancer Chestplate, which is 6 million coins, a Summoning Ring, which is 10 million coins, a Fell Skull, which is around about 4.5 million coins, a Necromancer Sword, which is 7 million coins, Soul Weaver Gloves, which are almost 4 million coins, and there is quite a few more decent drops from Floor 6. Now, of course, you also do have to factor in as well the fact that you also have to pay for these items, so the prices that I've just listed off aren't complete profit. Some of them might not even be worth buying. Okay, the Necron's handle is much easier to look at considering the drop rate is just around 0.1% from a regular Floor 7, which equates to 1 in 1,000. If you use a Kismet every time, that's 1 in 500. That means that you would have spent 675 million coins on Kismets. Factoring in the 100 million coins it costs to buy from the chest, you'd actually be losing coins if you got unlucky and got the actual drop chance. You have to remember that this drop chance is I mean, it's a drop chance. It's a chance. It's RNG. It may take you double the amount of runs that this actually predicts, or it might take you 2 runs to drop a Necron's handle. But just to wrap it up, basically, if you did get the if you did drop the Necron's Handle bang on the drop chance and you use a Kismet every single time, you would have spent, including the 100 million coins, around about 775 mil, and handles at the moment are around about 715 mil, which means that you'd actually lose 50 mil, which is crazy. Now if we take a look at Master Mode Floor 7 on the other hand, the drop chance of the Necron's Handle is 1 in 770. If you use a Kismet every time, that's 1 in 385. This time, it would set you back around about 520 million coins in Kismets, plus the 100 million coins from the chest, which is 620 million, which means that you would profit what's that around about 95 mil. Now, what I will say is if you did reroll every single chest from a floor 7 and you got the exact drop chance of getting a Necron's Handle, the likelihood is you're going to drop a lot of items as well, and items that will probably make up and end up making you profit. Now, each one of the Necron Blade scrolls, Implosion, Wither Shield, and Shadow Warp also drop from floor 7. All of these are just less than 300 million coins, and from a regular floor 7 actually have the same drop chance as a Necron's Handle from Master Mode floor 7. Which means, in theory, if you did floor 7s until you got a Necron's Handle and you dropped it from the actual drop chance on the wiki, you would almost be guaranteed to drop a scroll as well. It costs 50 million from the chest regardless of which one it is. They all sell for around about 300 million, so it means you profit 250 million, which means that the Necron Handle and the scroll that you would drop would be profit. Now once again, there's a good chance that if you went all the way to a Necron's Handle and it took you a while to drop one, that you might drop multiple scrolls. You also might not drop 0 scrolls. I mean, it's just RNG. It's very hard to actually determine. However, it makes much more sense when people say you should use a Kismet on floor 7 as opposed to floor 6, because floor 6 has 1 good drop and a few decent drops. Floor 7 has 4 ridiculously good drops and other good drops. Now, something that I will mention about the Necron's Handle is basically the chances that we see on the wiki are basically just a play off the RNG meter. Assuming you get, I don't know, 280 score every single run, and we divide that by 274k, that is 978 runs it would take, which is, well, give or take 1,000. Now, I personally don't know of anyone who's had to fill the meter for a Necron's Handle. I'm not saying there aren't people out there that have and get incredibly unlucky, and I'm sure there are people out there, probably Iron Man, because Hypixel like to troll. But the likelihood is that you're probably not going to take 1,000 runs to drop a Necron's Handle. I think the handle that I dropped, I was literally only at like 20k XP, and you can see I've not really played much floor 7 since. And why would you? I wonder though, is it worth it for Master Mode? For instance, let's take a look at Master Mode Floor 3, the first floor where you can start to drop Master Stars. Well, of course it's just the first Master Star. The drop chance of the first Master Star from Master Mode Floor 3 is 2.53%, which is a 1 in 40 chance roughly. If you use a Kismet every time, that's 1 in 20. That's going to cost you 27 million coins in Kismets, it's going to cost you 5 million coins from the chest, and the first Master Star doesn't sell for any more than 15 million coins, so it's not worth re-rolling these at all. As for the second Master Star from Master Mode Floor 4, it is a 4.21% chance to drop, or a 1 in 24 chance. If we use Kismets every time, that's a 1 in 12. That's going to set you back around about 16.2 million coins in Kismet Feathers. It's also going to set you back 6 million coins from the chest, so that's around about 22.2 million. And the second Master Star basically sells for 22 million coins. So once again, from Floor 4, Master Mode Floor 4, there might be a couple of other drops that you might get along the way that might make it worth it, but it's probably not going to be worth it realistically. Okay, so this is now going to be relatively difficult to actually work out, considering the third Master Star can drop from both the Obsidian and Bedrock chest. Now, if you use your Kismet, of course you're going to reroll the Bedrock chest because there's a greater chance of dropping it. However, there is also basically a third of that initial chance to drop it from the Obsidian chest too. Anyway, so the bottom line from this is realistically you're going to spend around about 61 million coins in Kismet. So when you do eventually drop it, you're going to have to pay an extra 7 million. So that's going to be 68 million coins. And the cost of the third Master Star when you actually sell it, if you put a sell offer up, is 50 million coins. However, that calculation doesn't consider the chance that you may also drop it from the Obsidian chest. So it may be slightly closer, but I still wouldn't recommend it. For the 4th Master Star, I mean, this is interesting. This really is interesting because you actually have a greater chance of dropping a 4th Master Star from Master Mode Floor 6 from getting an S run and dropping it from the Obsidian chest than you do from the Bedrock chest for an S+, which is absolutely mental. Like, that makes no sense at all. Nevertheless, these figures are so close to each other, we're basically just going to take it to be the same. So, what we need to do is we need to figure this out. So, from one of the chests, the chances of dropping this is 1 in 156. If you factor in both chests, that's going to be about 1 in 78. If we were to open a Kismet every time, that would roughly be a 1 in 52 chance to drop. You'd spend around about 70 million coins on Kismets, and when you do drop it, you'd have to spend 8 million coins to get it from the chest, which would mean that on average it would cost you around about 78 million coins. And the price of the 4th Master Star is around about 48 million coins, so definitely do not use Kismets to get this. And we see a very similar scenario with the 5th Master Star too. So if we factor in both chests and then using a Kismet on one of the chests, that gives us around about a 1 in 1,000 chance to drop. So if we factor in these 2 chests and also the Kismet that we'd use, that gives us around about a 1 in 100 chance to drop this 5th Master Star from Master Mode Floor 7. I can already tell you, I know the price of this Master Star, and it's, I think, around about 50 million coins. And just for the Master Star alone, it isn't worth it. But just from everything else that you can get from Floor 7, obviously it's a no-brainer to reroll. And the same goes for Master Mode Floor 6 as well. There's so many other good drops that you can get that it's probably worth re-rolling. But even given the statistics, and honestly, I mean, I've probably potentially butchered a couple of them because it becomes relatively complicated for my relatively small brain. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when the statistics say you should do something and people don't. Because there's some people that will stand by and never use Kismets even though you should do, realistically. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.